Hello, everyone. Welcome to the PackerUniverse podcast, a.k.a. The Pup List. We're Green Bay's, all the Green Bay's Packers fans, podcasts, bringing you topical and relevant Packers news along with their most humble, subjective opinions. This is episode 343. Ren, we're recording this live on a Wednesday, January 14th. 2025. Happy offseason, everybody. The Packers lost to the Bears in the wild card round of the playoffs. Yeah, one and out, one and done. I'm your host, Tay, and joining me live, as always, is our one and only MVVP.
Tay Ren, what up, Tay? Mid-January, the weather's back to feeling like it too, and we just get to bear the brunt of winter here forward with not any Packers football to look forward to. So, bear, pun intended, right? No, I didn't even intend that pun, but it fits right there. Do you know, Tay, during that second half, just a little quizzical one, Mr. Bob Weir, if you're familiar with Bob Weir, he was one of the co-founders of the Grateful Dead. They were first the Warlocks, and it came across social media in the second half of the Green Bay Packers game against the Chicago Bears that he had passed.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously a legendary musician. But one thing the Bears, the Grateful Dead, one of their emblems is a dancing bear. And it just seems like the Bears, somehow life being weird, the Bears danced all over the Packers in the second half. And we're here talking about the offseason today. So I just found that to be a weird thing that happened when I was thinking about it at the time, when I thought back to it. But in classic Packer fashion, they entered the postseason as a 7th seed. That's pretty much all they can do. Thank goodness there are 7 seeds, as you pointed out a few weeks back. Otherwise, they might not be in the dance the last 3 years. And they exit pretty quickly, other than the first season with Jordan Love making the playoffs. But
maybe Bob Weir. Bob, did you say Bob Weir?
Bob Weir, yes.
Maybe he, as he went into the netherworld, he went across Chicago and sprinkled a little magic dust on the Bears to give them that edge in the second half. That's probably what happened, because we can't be, or can we be blaming our Green Bay Packers for basically a second half meltdown? We lost 27 to, what is it, 30? No, what was the score? Holy crap.
31-27.
21 to 31. 27 to 31.
You got that? All right.
Yeah, I finally got it. I need some sprinkled dust over here myself. But
sounds like you already have had some, Tay.
I mean, they basically blew the lead in the second half. They couldn't capitalize on any second half offensive drives until maybe a couple pushes later. Bad play calling, botched kicks, poor time management. I mean, they had it all. They had it all, Ren, and in a basically a complete collapse. So, I mean, anything's on the table tonight for discussing what you think is wrong with the Green Bay Packers and maybe what they should do. But their record now for the year was 9-7-1, right? And during that game, last week when we did our episode, I named some players that I think need to step up right in this game. And I had a little list here. I wish I kind of had it spelled out so I can show you, but Rashawn Gary was on the list. I remember one play. Lucas Van Ness, one play. He did good on.
That's a big strip sack play.
It was a good play, but really just one again. Nazir Stackhouse, Jonathan Ford. I don't know where they were. Lucas Musgrave, where was Luke? And then Matthew Golden was on my list. And finally, we get someone that actually did something in the game. But
pretty dynamic in open field, Tay, when he has the football. So maybe they need to do that a little bit more.
Right. So I think all of PackerUniverse was thinking, where was this guy like this the whole year? And underutilized or lack of confidence. I'm not really sure what the deal is with him. But anyway, so those are my players I was looking to step up in our Bears game. And I didn't really see most of them. So a little disappointing.
Well, and one of the big talking points going into that game today was red zone efficiency. How about 3 for 3 in the first half, Tay? Pretty phenomenal. 21-3 lead at the half.
First half heroes.
And, like I mentioned, and I told those here watching it with me, when he missed that field goal going to the half, I didn't feel good about it. And I was they're like, my wife said to me, like, it should be that 21-3. You should, and I'm like, nope.
Game over.
I'm like, nope. And I was right. Because what this team has done to us, Tay, unfortunately, and some of this is not even the LaFleur era, but many of the losses are from the divisional round you and I saw in Lambeau against the 49ers with some very bad play, some very bad play calling, very bad special teams. Ooh, theme. Other losses in the LaFleur tenure too. I mean, just there are ways in which to lose a game, and it seems like this team has mastered it. In fact, I heard after this game, Tay, with I want to say somewhere 95% plus chance to win a football game with less than 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. In franchise history, the Green Bay Packers prior to the 2025 season were 306 wins and 1 loss in situations like that. They did that not 1, not 2, but 3 times in the 2025 season, Tay.
Yeah.
That had happened 1 time in franchise history before. So that stat, that thing tells you that what they accomplished in ways they lost games this year is, unheard of. The probability is in the inexplicable range that they can do that. Not again, even 1 time it happens, it's crazy. They did that twice just with the Chicago Bears. 2 of those, Tay. Just with them. So it's inexcusable from a coaching standpoint. And you wonder how, again, Matt LaFleur comes back from that. We're going to obviously talk about him tonight. And like we talked before the game, it would take, something dramatically bad to happen in that game. Had they just lost a game where it was competitive, it's not even a talking point, right? But the way in which they lost this game is still something here on a Wednesday. I still have a hard time accepting, knowing what I watched in the first half and how they ultimately lost that football. They should be playing this weekend against the Seahawks, but they're not. Bringing Matt back, I said prior, that's where I was going with this, that, kind of a no-brainer. Why, it's not time to separate. But here it could go either way, and I really wouldn't care. If they bring him back, I'm fine, but I don't want them to give him like a 4-year extension. I think that's way too much time. And I think he's going to play a little bit of hardball, him and his agent, with how much money they want in this new extension and time. And I don't think he's earned it. And I think the Packers are going to be like, we'll give you 2 years on top of the 1 year you have next year. And we're going to have some incentives built in there for, win-loss percentages and playoff victories. And I don't know if those two are going to agree. We'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, after this last game, I have a new, for a while, I think you and I both liked the rivalry with the Bears. Now I hate them again. It's back. It's rekindled my hatred for this team.
Did you enjoy hearing about Ben Johnson's comments in the locker room about the Green Bay Packers? Do you know of said comments?
I've heard things. And I think even in his press conference, he's just like, I just don't like them. I don't like that team. It's like, okay.
He used the F-bomb.
Yep.
He used the F-bomb in the locker room post-game about the Packers. And
yep. So no, I dislike him at the moment, and to me that's good. It's a good thing. You love to hate your enemies, right? Hated the Vikings, still hate the Vikings. Bears are back into that slot again. Because they were our adversaries this year. They were in our way, right? And they got the best of us. They did play really well.
Are you sure the Packers weren't in their own way when they played the Bears today?
Well, I'm just saying,
are you sure it was the Bears?
I'm just saying they were our opponents, Ren. They were the team we had to play to advance. Is what I'm trying to say. So, and it was relevant, right? It was a relevant game. So yeah, that's back, and all that mudslinging by them and Ben Johnson, that's fine. Just fuels all the Packer fans, all of us, social media, Packer podcast, and hopefully the team and the front office. So love it. Rekindles that. I want more. I want the Packers to beat down the Bears. So that's kind of like rekindled that. It was for a while just respect, and now we're feeding that hatred, Ren, and that's good for sports. That's good for rivalries. But we had, like you mentioned, we had a bunch of meltdowns. 2 of them were against the Bears in this later half of the season, and you really can only point to a few things that can cause that, and one of them is the coach, right? So that's a huge talking point since the loss about Matt LaFleur, and rightfully so. Everyone's got an opinion, and everyone should have one, right? As a fan of this team, you demand to have some accountability, and some sort of like what happened is answers, given. And a lot of people were like, fire Matt LaFleur. I think we even said on the first take, like, I don't know, like whatever happens. I don't want to think about it, kind of thing. But after thinking about it a little more since Saturday night, like I for one, I don't think that he's hit the threshold for me. I think that it would be, I guess, too soon or too much of a knee-jerk reaction to pull the plug on Matt LaFleur right now. You have to have someone better than him that you want to come in this building and be the head coach if you're going to fire him. And I just don't think that the Packers are ready for that. Maybe they are, and we just don't know these things. But you have to have someone that is going to come in that you like, that you want here, and that person is willing to come in here and do that job. So you can't just fire them and hope for the best. You have to have a game plan. I think what you have in Matt LaFleur is decent. I think a lot of things with the injuries really hurt the team. I think a lot of things that maybe the coaching staff below him had issues with or couldn't do. But I guess I struggle with this in the last few days because I am mad at Matt LaFleur. I don't like when he comes out after each loss like this and says, "Oh no, it's my fault," and it comes down to execution and stuff. It's just like you take responsibility for that and say you're going to try harder to do certain things. He just makes these blanket statements, but it's on him. It's totally on him to get this team. And when I hear him say a lot in that press conference, we didn't do that, or we didn't give ourselves the opportunities. It's like the buck stops with him. He's the head coach. So I have a problem with him. He'll step aside and say, well, yeah, it's always me. I'm the head coach. It comes back to me all the time. But I think a lot of that press conference, when he says we, he means someone specific. And so something's not happening there, whether the coach is not getting his, skill room ready, or if they're just not doing their job. I think a lot of the time Matt is alluding to the fact that the players weren't doing their job on the field. And that's hard to hear because it's Matt's job to get them ready. And it's like, dude, you are the guy. Like it's coming to you. I know you want to say they didn't do their job, but like it's your job to make sure they do their job. So that's hard for me to take and see that again and again, week after week. So given all that, it sounds like, right, I'm down on him, but you have to look at what you have, what he's done for this football team. I do think there is a formula for success with Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. And I think he's got to realize what that stuff is for himself, how to get his team to do what he wants to do. But I think ultimately, I don't know if he's ever had the right people around him that he's wanted that work well with him. I've never felt 100% about his offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, everybody else below him, especially special teams, right? I've never felt like he's had who he needs. So I think that's always room for improvement, right? And I think at times I think one of the big talking points was culture, right? People think that the culture is off in Green Bay. And I guess I agree with that mostly. I mean, I think like Matt's, I'll be honest, I think he's soft. I don't think he's a hard ass. I don't think he's tough. He incorporates tough talk. Like, here's our system. We have to do this. If you're not doing your job, you need to get out. Well, okay. But he's not like that, that asshole, right? He's not going to get in your face. He's a player's coach to a degree, but in my opinion, he's just still a little soft. And there's nothing wrong with that. But in the end, you have to get your players to play for him. And he's kind of wrapped up in this, like, I think he's wrapped up in his own game plan and his own analytics and his own, like, those weird structures that he's got himself into, when I think he should just let his team play sometimes. Just go out there, play the best ball. He's always talking about putting his players in the correct situations, but those are correct situations that he thinks that they should be in. And sometimes maybe that's a little too rigid, and that he needs to just let him play. Like we've always talked about, let Jordan Love play, like just let him go. But he, you still see those like imaginary reins on Jordan Love. So I think that's a lot to do with Matt. Just stop playing conservative. Like, where is the all gas? I mean, he's quoted on saying that, like, was that 3-4 years ago now? All gas, no break. Where is the gas? You completely deflate and go conservative in the second half of a lot of games that you have the lead to. So that's an issue. But you gotta keep going. Like, I want to see a Bill Belichick level from him. Just cutthroat. Just do it. Take him out. And you don't see that from Matt LaFleur. For whatever reason, you don't see that. But I think better coaching underneath him obviously is a big answer to this question. I think I'd like to see Stenovich gone, get a new OC in there. Hafley's probably going to be gone. He just, I think today, finished his interview with the Miami Dolphins, who we all think he's going to go to, possibly.
John Eric Sullivan, yep.
But Hafley's probably gone. So you need to get a new defensive coordinator. And then obviously Rich Bisaccia has got to go. We've got to revamp again that special teams and just do something about it. But there is a formula for Matt LaFleur, I think, with having the correct coaches underneath him to make this team successful the way we want and should be able to see this team as. It's there. I just don't know if he's ever gotten the right coaching staff underneath him to do that. I don't mind him as a coach. I wish he was a little tougher, a little more rigid, and a little more, dickish sometimes. But I think it's still possible with Matt LaFleur as he is to be successful in these playoff games, to put him over the hump. And I think that really happens with some of the supporting coaching staff.
Fair. Appreciate the Tay's tirade there on Matt LaFleur.
Yeah.
Tay, it's like wanting some of that Belichick stuff, or just a more aggressive brand of Matt LaFleur. That's not that guy. It's not. I think he can be more accountable, and he needs to be. The Green Bay Packers don't have enough accountability. There's too much loyalty. You've seen it from Matt, how long he's kept some guys, the promotion within, he keeps guys, a year or two longer than should be there. Obviously, it is time to, get another offensive mind in there. Even if you're going to continue to call play calls, you need somebody in there lending you some different ideas, and you need to be open to it. Maybe they need a, new look on the offensive line too, with the coach there. This Packers football team, it's super paraphrasing, but I mean, Quay Walker was quoted by saying they have an identity problem with being, considered a physical football team, and the organization, he said, had that identity before he even got there. So this is something kind of known. They are a little bit soft. They need to have that fight, that desire on their own, and also taught to them to finish games and punch back when you get punched. And it seems like at times they play this kind of Packer brand of football. So we think of the Green Bay Packers as a, really well-respected, well-run organization, classy. They almost play classy, like instead of dirty, There's not that dirty element to them that I think they need to have that chip. And that other teams in the league sometimes look at them, I think, as a little bit of, they're good, they can beat us, but we know if we punch really hard at them, they might just give up. They might just fail. And it's too much of a reoccurring thought over the years on the, picture of what the Green Bay Packers are. And we heard in the locker room this week, effusive praise by Micah Parsons. One of the reasons he would go to Green Bay is he had met Matt LaFleur at a Pro Bowl and really enjoyed him and likes him as a person. Same can be said from Tucker Kraft. No reason they should consider doing that. Loves Matt. That was echoed through a lot of guys. So clearly it seems Jordan Love that he hasn't lost all these guys. You definitely want your leaders to be speaking up and saying those kind of things. Aaron Rodgers, probably his last game in Pittsburgh, had effusive praise for one Matt LaFleur, saying things like, I don't know where the league is at today, but it's certainly different than when I started. And it is. It's like 21 years ago, Aaron. But with the advent of social media the way it is, and, all these podcasts and sports talk shows that there's quick reactions and keep guys. And let's be honest, this is a really big open coaching cycle today. We're one team away from it being 10 coaches. I think there's 9 openings right now. That's almost a third of the league. And you think about not just the coaches, then the coordinators being available, and then the other staff guys being able to be brought in and mix and match with all that out there and finding the right stuff. It just seems maybe not the right hiring cycle, or you'd want to do that anyway. There's not really great talent out there, it seems. So I'm okay bringing it back, but there are certainly issues. Certainly they'll talk, I'm sure, about those things behind closed doors with regard to, Matt not hanging on to guys as long as he does. Maybe, delegating a little bit better. It seems like, hey, I have expectations of you coaches and you better do it right. Because it seems like he delegates, but there's not that, call back to say, if you're not doing this, again, I'm just talking about it, I'm going to move on. This is what my expectations are. And really levy those things. Clearly, all those kind of conversations need to be happening with Matt LaFleur and his agent as they try to work out some kind of deal, because it sounds, again, per your boy Adam Schefter, they still are. But now we're 2 days in, and what if something doesn't happen and they just couldn't come to an agreement and they want to trade him? Sure, you might get a little draft capital, but now you're really behind the 8 ball with who and what can you bring in. And that's not a good situation to be in either.
No, I don't want to be in position. I think we have with some of our coaching staff at times, like we're just behind the 8 ball. The coaches that we want aren't available. But the one thing I just wanted to say, like I guess last point on Coach LaFleur here, is that for an NFL team, I think one of the thresholds is whether you have control and respect in that locker room for you. And I think to this point, that is still intact with Matt LaFleur. You would know, I think, when that tipping point happens and you lost the locker room. You see it on other teams happen to their coaches, and it's bad news. It cascades and it's an avalanche basically. Once a little thing happens, then it happens pretty fast. So it's great to hear some of those guys say that, I back him, I like him. He's a great coach. And those are some of those leadership roles that need to be in that locker room as far as players are concerned, expressing these things about your head coach and just a lot of other things in general. And, you see the reports like, does the locker room have those guys on the Packers team? Yes or no? And a lot of people point to no, they don't. But in the end, Matt LaFleur still has control of that locker room. He still has the respect, and they're still implementing his scheme. So I think as far as that is concerned, he's that box is still checked, and that really helps him stay here. I will be kind of upset at this point. It's Wednesday, right? I will be upset if he does leave now. If you're going to do it and you're going to try to do something, you should have done it already. Now it's too late. Unless you have it all lined up, and we don't know these things, you maybe got John Harbaugh lined up. All that $20 million talk and control over the staff is all hype and BS. I don't know, but you better have something ready to go, or have had something ready to go, because to me right now, it's a little too late.
Like I said, I don't think there's a lot of great stuff out there, and even John Harbaugh doesn't. I think it'd be kind of an even trade at that point.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be like over the moon about it, but yeah, you'd be in trouble if they move now, and he was not the guy, no doubt.
Little side note, and maybe this is like a dated comment, but my dream staff for LaFleur kind of always has been, having Saleh as your DC. So maybe that's something in the cards, but Shanahan likes to hold on to those guys. He's never going to leave. San
Francisco just went
Francisco,
back there, man.
Yep, he did, but opportunity knocks, and maybe he, anyway. So I guess I'm not saying these things would happen or can happen. I'm just saying it would be nice if Matt could have his buddy be the DC, and then you get a guy like Nathaniel Hackett, who I saw up there behind Jeff Hafley during the game. He was, providing intel, right? Great intel. But Nathaniel Hackett's been hanging around, so it's like
maybe Hackett was calling the second half of that game today. Who knows?
Yeah,
so, I'm good with keeping Hackett away.
I know he's basically a offensive manager. He's not doing stuff, but Matt LaFleur, while he's in town, he's going to be calling the plays. There's no way he's giving that up. I guess I would love to see a Packers head coach that wasn't calling the plays, that can coach this team from the sidelines, excuse me, as a whole, not necessarily always focused on one side of the ball or the other. I don't know if we'll ever get that in anytime soon. I know we talked about that off mic on after the first takeaway. Like, when's the last time we had a NFL coach that was not calling plays? I think it was Mike Sherman, right? But he was the GM, so it's like he's got double duties anyway on the sideline. So I just kind of maybe fantasize about that sometimes. Because Matt, when he's over there on his iPad ordering pizza for the night, like he should be watching the defense, figuring out what's going on, right? So I don't think that's going to change. Stenovich, I don't really have anything that I like about him. I think that position could be changed up. I wouldn't worry 100%. About it too much.
A new voice to at least give you some influx of ideas.
One of those things that people kind of are pointing out, maybe not complaining, but pointing out, is that they promote within too much. There's no outside forces adding anything to the Packers.
Agreed. Yeah, new ideas from a different place, different perspective. Yep.
I think, Hafley, I guess he came from a college, so I guess, and maybe you see a little bit of spark there when he came in. You had Rich Bisaccia coming from the Raiders, but that's faded, right? That needs to be reworked. So, yep. Yeah, I would love to see new minds come in also, just to shake this up a bit.
Yeah, and again, accountability. If you some of your position coaches maybe aren't responding to your style or producing results, don't keep them around too long. Just don't. I mentioned it earlier. Just move on. Find somebody else. That to me would probably show others in the organization and the staff and the team that there's accountability. Again, send the message. People were talking about, I heard it mentioned how stuff went down with last year with Jair doing his thing and Dobbs issue. Like, guys feel like they can just kind of step out and do what they want. There's not a lot of fear of repercussion. And it seems like sometimes the team, undisciplined that way, also plays that way. They're undisciplined. Again, doesn't mean in today's day and age, I think players mostly want more of a player's coach. I do. I think that's a big thing for them. And Matt is definitely that. But again, there needs to be a level of accountability that all players need to also accept. And I think it is a good thing because they play a little bit more disciplined that way as well. Because this team all the time talks about, this looked good in practice, and then the operation on game day wasn't great. Well, what is that? It's a similar kind of thing. Like, you just let those things happen. That shouldn't happen. You know what I mean? And it's part of that kind of the way it's taught, the mindset that they need to change, and there needs to be urgency to it. And if he's back, he should. That definitely, hopefully, is made a point to him, like, this has to look different, because if it doesn't, ultimately we're going to be back here in a year or two, Matt, and this time it's going to be to say goodbye.
Yeah. It's gonna be lights out. I kind of whipped this up here while we're talking, but we're already in the off season. People are already talking about things. They're talking about free agents right on the list. Is that what you got there, Ren?
Yeah, we're there. We're in the off season. I wanted to give you the rapid fire names.
Go ahead.
You've got them in front of you, but I've got a few honorable, some of them very honorable mentions to go along with that list. So,
okay,
you can read it off to the pup list folks here, and then we'll give me your first opinion on those names.
Well, these are just the unrestricted free agents. There's a list of the other ones, but these are the obviously most important because they don't have, they're not going to be on the Packers right now unless we re-sign them, and usually that indicates maybe a bigger contract, right? Excuse me. So we got Rasheed Walker, left tackle, Kingsley JJ Anambare, edge, Romeo Dobbs, wide receiver, Zane Anderson, safety, Nick Nyman, linebacker, Sean Ryan, who was promoted to center after Elton Jenkins got hurt, Malik Willis, quarterback, John Fitzpatrick, tight end, and Quay Walker, the linebacker. Did I miss anybody?
Free agent wise, Christian Welch, I want to say, is not on there. Tay is one to definitely mention, but the rest of them, you've got them right on there.
I mean, Rasheed Walker for sure, and Romeo Dobbs are the ones that everyone is kind of just like cast off. They're gone, and they probably are. But these two guys, it's crazy to me that they won't be on the team next year. Honestly, when you look at, I'll show you this snap count for wide receivers for the season. I pulled this from Rob Domofsky's tweet today. Thanks, Rob. Romeo Dobbs played 780 snaps, 74%. He topped the list by huge margins for wide receivers. Now, granted, most of those wide receivers were, in and out, injured a lot. Romeo was pretty consistent all year. 74% of the snaps was that he played, 780. And that guy's going to be gone. And then you're left with everyone else in that list, Golden, Watson, Wicks, Reed, Melton, maybe Savion, excuse me, and then maybe Keeney James, but I doubt it. So now you're dealing with a core that is in and out of the games because of injury. And to me, Dobbs was the most consistent, relied upon wide receiver this year. And he's going to be gone. So it's like, I fight with that internally.
I mean, Dobbs, Tay, you're not wrong. Like, people can't cast Romeo Dobbs off and expect that they won't miss some of his production, some of his clutch third down receptions. He is that guy. His good hands. Romeo's a very good wide receiver, Tay. The part I think that some of the fans feel that way a little bit is, the unpredictability of the person, Romeo Dobbs. And that makes it, when you look around, and you mentioned guys like Christian Watson, Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed, Savion Williams, obviously Malik is gone, but Dontavian Wicks, whoever else they bring in, if they bring in another draft pick. But that's a lot of guys, and the ball only can go to one at a time. So, I mean, I think that certainly could elevate the play of Matthew Golden with more opportunity. He could become a very good possession receiver. He could even be a bigger play guy moving in his shiftiness in the middle of the field. He is not a Christian Watson type. You're going to get those deep balls all the time, but certainly that shiftiness could maybe produce really good middle of the field results. So, and keeping Jaden Reed healthy along with Christian Watson healthy could be a very good wide receiving core. So I don't throw Dobbs away. I think he's, of these free agents outside on offense, he's their best free agent today. And don't miss him. They will. He's a good player.
Obviously, they gave Watson that 1-year extension when he was coming back from injury, which was a good move by the Packers, and no movement from the team and Dobbs on any kind of extension. So, that strikes me as I don't know what they're going to do about it. I hope everyone steps up and stays healthy, because then it would work. But
and I didn't even bring up Tucker Kraft. I mean, there's another guy who's going to be healthy and Again, one football. So I think they can get away with not having him, but they'll miss him too at times. There's no doubt about it. He's a good football player.
When you look at this list, top of the list is Rasheed Walker. When I go to that snap count, Ren, Rasheed Walker, 998 snaps this year, 94% of the offensive line plays he was involved in. The next one down is Sean Ryan at 808, and then Jordan Morgan, Aaron Banks, Zach Tom at 605. Again, you're getting rid of potentially a guy that played almost every down.
And the second most snaps on that O-line is also a free agent, Sean Ryan,
And
tough, big time.
Yep.
But Rasheed Walker did not have a great year, and especially not a great second half of the season, especially late. He was not good in that second half of that football game against the Chicago Bears last Saturday night, Tay. Once again, Saturdays, by the way, not a great day for a game, Tay. I'm throwing that one out the window in 2026, the rest of the year. No more Saturday games because they're not good for the Packers. But, it's just still replacing the snaps of those two guys, Tay, is a monumental task. Obviously, that means a lot more Jordan Morgan next year, a lot more Anthony Belton. I think Belton's going to be a very good player. The jury is definitely still out on Morgan if he's going to be nothing more than kind of a 1-year Walker replacement, and they go, maybe that wasn't even good enough, even though Walker's play has been average to slightly above in just spots this year, but nothing great. So
when I look at this, I love Kingsley and Igbare. I think they should try to work something out with him. Obviously, I'd love to see Dobbs back. It's just not going to happen. Walker, I would, with the injury situation, I'd love a guy like that, but that's probably not happening. The rest of the guys, Sean Ryan came in at center. I think he did.
He played definitely both guard spots. I'd really like to have Sean Ryan back today. That's a super versatile piece there.
Yep. And, he had some mistakes later in the season, but I think that, those kinks get worked out. Obviously, Malik Willis, I would love to see Malik as our number 2, but it's never going to happen. He's going to be snatched up by someone, big contract. Maybe he could get $20 million a year somewhere starting. Obviously for Malik, he would take that, and I don't blame him. Bring some, we'll get just some draftee or some practice squad guy to be our backup. But that was a hell of a move by the Packers for trading him before last season. So it's sad to see him go because I liked him. I think a lot of people did. John Fitzpatrick was injured, so I just don't see that happening. Maybe he rebounds and he comes back, but I think we're always kind of looking for that next tight end. I don't think Musgrave really is that. I think Tucker's going to be ready for week 1. He'll bounce back and from his knee injury. I think he'll be ready, but you need more bodies for tight end. So I wouldn't be surprised if that room got made over. And then finally, Quay Walker. He is in and out. He was in and out this year, and you had McDuffie and Cooper taking the load off when he's not there. I had my problems with Quay for a long time, but he did turn into a solid player. He's shaped up his attitude, right? He's not getting ejected like he did in his rookie year twice, I think. But that middle linebacker position needs to be solidified somehow. I just don't see. I would love if they brought Quay back for at least one more year, but I just don't see that happening.
I think they'll make him a priority. He'll be one of their priority signings today. I think that Cooper's a lot better when it's those two guys out in the field. McDuffie's nice to have as a spell. Obviously, not having Coop in that second half was not also a good thing for the Packers. Still should have won the game, but that didn't help. I think Quay will be when we look at these. And the Packers are looking at these guys, it's probably the guy they're targeting. Number 1 would be my guess. And I'm not just saying you can just easily replace Sean Ryan and Rasheed Walker. Those are your number 1 and number 2 guys. You get on snaps on your O-line. I think they probably may target Sean Ryan, and I'll tell you more about that in a bit. But to bring him back because he is versatile along, that whole interior of your line, and that's an amazing thing to have, and he can play. I wouldn't say he's the best center you've ever seen, but he's not bad at all, Tay. And again, you can kick him at the guard spots too. So that is a huge, huge thing with that, where Rasheed Walker kind of really plays that one spot, and he does it kind of at an average to once in a while slightly above average piece. And I think you give Morgan the shot next year, and if it doesn't work out well, then you're going into the 2027 draft. Definitely probably taking a tackle high. I have a couple names for you, Tay. The honorable mentions, and I'm going to give you a little info on each, and then I want you to tell me what you think. Rashawn Gary, he's going to be under contract, but they would save about $11 million in the cap if they move on. Elton Jenkins, he has 1 year left on his deal. They save $19.5 million against the cap if they move on. Aaron Banks, they'll save $5 million if they decided to move on right away, but he would have a little over $20 million dead cap. Nate Hobbs is due 6.25. It's really kind of a whatever. They keep him, get rid of him, doesn't really make a huge difference cap wise. And then last honorable mention, Brian McManus today. There's a reason his name is coming up. He is due $1 million this year in salary cap charges. And if you released him, you'll save $1.95 million. So about double if you release him. So what are your thoughts on those honorable mentions? What sticks out? What do you have to say?
Man, the McManus thing. I mean, we're hot off this game where he missed. And
a touchdown worth of points in that game, Tay.
And that, that frustrates everybody.
Well, a touchdown and an extra point, I should say, right?
And you can kind of make the argument, if you get rid of him, who do you have better? Well, I mean, there could be a lot of people better, or younger, more consistent.
Lucas Haversick still in your practice squad.
That's right. And I guess before I go on, he did make, this is from Rob's too, the tweet the other day. Haversick did make, yes, the reserve future signings. On the screen here are a lot of these guys, and they're all just whatever. They're roster fillers, if you ask me right now. But someday maybe they make an impact, but not really. They're just guys to fill the roster. But Haversick is on that.
People know some of those names from James Esther to Messiah Swinson and
right.
Drake Dabney, the other tight end. There's a few guys there that names you'd definitely recall seeing.
So the McManus thing, I think. He's he apologized or said, yeah, it's on me, I'm sorry. But there's just got to be something done with that. I think well, $1 million isn't a big deal. But I guess like when he goes up to kick, how do you feel about it? Right. That's like the test. What's your confidence level? And
it's not great.
It's not great. So I think that's when you decide to move on. And which I'm fine with that. Like what I hate when experiments keep going, right? And this one just seems to now have too many variables in it where it's like, is he, his injury affected him mid-season, and now what's affecting him now? We're losing games still, so we should be in the search for someone that can actually put it up to the uprights.
He missed a lot of big kicks this year, Tay. He really did. He left a lot of points off the board that were crucial in some games. So.
This I want to bring up. I want to show quick too.
Hey, no other discussion on any of those other honorable mentions.
I'm getting there. When you look at the CBs, the snap counts: Keyshawn Nixon 90%, Carrington Valentine 69%, and then it drops way down to Nate Hobbs, who was injured at 32% of the snaps. And obviously, sometimes they have Bullard playing in there too. But Nate Hobbs. And then it drops down to people you'd never heard of until, whatever, like later in the season here. So that cornerback room needs attention. Trayvon Diggs.
Sure does.
I don't know, what if he's going to work out. If he does, great. But Nate Hobbs, snip him, get him out of here. Let's just get some new bodies in there. What can that hurt? We overpaid for Nate Hobbs, and he underperformed. When you move over to what's that, Aaron Banks, I guess if you really need a depth piece, and you think he can be better, fine, but otherwise cut him too.
He got better throughout the course of the year. His play did improve. When it's a $20 million dead cap, I'm riding it through next year. Obviously, already losing Walker and potentially Ryan. Got to
Yeah.
keep as many guys as you
Right.
can, have bodies.
It's
That's
all the depth.
my reason there. But the one where you do save $20 million, Elton Jenkins stay.
I
That's
know.
one we saw the brand of center he played. Not good.
No,
We
but
know he can play well, but has he been great since the big injury he had a few years back? Not so much, Tay. I'm saving that 19.25. I'm reinvesting that in my line. Some of that money is going right to Sean Ryan.
Sure. And I think that's a good move. If that's your strategy and that's what you do, that's great. I just think I want to push it and point to the fact that the Packers kind of did it to themselves, not the injury, but putting themselves in the situation with the center. I was a big advocate of not doing that. And I just think it backfired on the Packers. So having a dedicated center, I think is crucial. And then maybe they go back to that. And then a guy like Elton Jenkins works for you. But right now it's just, there's too many things against that whole system where there's, he's at center, and then there's a time where he wanted center money and then the contract, and then, and now he's injured, and now you could save a bunch of money by cutting him. So that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, and he hasn't played as well since the other bigger injury, and now he's had a leg fracture. So you're going to wait for that whole thing to heal, and is he going to have a drop off now from there as well? Like I said, I know that Ryan's younger, he's more versatile. He can definitely play center better than Elton Jenkins can. We know that. So again, I just reinvest that money in him, and obviously going to have to address some of that too in the draft.
Yeah. So it's interesting, and it's January 14th, so we've got at least 2 months until the league starts again. The new year starts, and free agency kicks in. So we have a lot of time to talk about this, Ren, don't we?
We sure do. Unfortunately.
So other teams are going on to the playoffs. Packers are not. NFC, you got the Niners, Seahawks, Rams, and Bears. AFC, Bills, Broncos, Texans, Patriots. Obviously, no one's rooting for the Bears that we know, and that's on this podcast. But if you're looking for two teams, Ren, to advance, who are the teams you want to go, I guess, to the championship round?
To the Super Bowl?
Sure. Yeah, go all the way. Go all the way, Ren.
Obviously not the Niners, because I don't like that franchise. You know why? I will say though, Matt LaFleur's like the littlest brother to biggest brother Kyle Shanahan, and then McVay, and then it's LaFleur. Like Kyle Shanahan can make any quarterback look good. And he just changes up his play calling over the years, and he stays consistently interesting from a play calling standpoint. And I wish Matt would, take some pages out of Kyle Shanahan's book a little bit more. I know he's obviously a mentor to him, so or a friend or whatever he wants to call, but maybe he needs to look at what Kyle's doing a little bit with a better lens. But so definitely not them. The Seahawks, obviously 12th bag now, so I'll go Rams, I guess, because nobody likes the Rams. They're in LA. They don't even have fans. They're like they have lukewarm fans, right?
Yeah.
So I guess the Rams, root for Devontae to get one, and then pretty easy in the AFC for me, Tay. I'll go with the Buffalo Bills, non-Super Bowl winners. When I was a kid, I hated the Bills. You know that because I was a Dan Marino guy.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that'd be cool to see that small city get one. They've never got one. So I'd go Bills, Rams, Super Bowl. Give me that one.
Yeah. Definitely. It's up between the Rams and the Seahawks, but I think like Rams did go and they won all in, but now they seem to be back, have some like revived life in them. Never hated Stafford, so I don't mind that. And Devontae's there, get him a ring. I like that. I like Devontae. I wish he was on our team still, but so I have some, like sway towards them. But Seahawks, honestly, I don't think I've watched a Seahawks game this year. I don't, Sam Darnold, is that the other guys out there? I don't even know who, but I guess
one thing I like about the Seahawks is throwback 90s uniforms. I like those.
Oh, yeah. So. They got to keep those all the time. Those are great. But you got John Schneider there, and I wish him luck, and he's put together really good teams over the years. So, I mean, I would give it to I'd be fine with the Seahawks going. On the AFC side, yeah, it's Buffalo or Houston. I don't want New England to go. I do not want the Broncos to go. Hate those teams. Houston, expansion team.
I don't like the Texans either, man. Don't like them.
I don't only because they have never gone either. And it's like
they still seem too new to me. I don't know.
It's true, but
don't like it.
And then so Buffalo, Buffalo get there, get one, and then you can just go away. Like
get Josh one. They can have their one Super Bowl and be back in 75 years and get another one. There you go.
But that's another team. It's like they're they're going to deep in the playoffs, and McDermott was on the hot seat for a long time.
They won one playoff game against. I thought Jacksonville was going to win. I thought they were the better team this year, but going out to Denver and beating them, man, with the defense they have, that's a tall task because the Bills' defense is pretty.
Yeah, but you're right. Those expansion teams, Jacksonville, Carolina, Texans, like it seems weird because those teams, were created when we were into football, so it does seem young. It doesn't seem like they've been around for a while.
Right. But they've been around like 35 years.
It's
30 years, something like that.
Yeah, 30 years. But it seems like it's just still too premature for, I guess, me to be like, yeah, they should go. They deserve it. And it's just like, nah, you guys wait your turn, right? So I don't know. I agree with you.
You got to put at least 50 into this thing.
Right, exactly. So we obviously lost in the playoffs, and we traded away our first pick to the Dallas Cowboys. So that is locked in at 20th overall. So we would have had the 20th pick, but that's now the Cowboys. Unless someone trades a pick for Matt LaFleur, we'll see.
Could happen. It would not be totally outrageous, put it that way.
It'd be strange, but I just
if Matt Ryan, who has just got the job as like president of football operations of the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
That was his QB coach. Remember, they had a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl against the Patriots. He can go join Matt, Ryan in Atlanta. The two Matts can talk about the 21-3 and the 28-3 losses together. I don't know, man, but
last question. I know we're running a little long tonight, but Malik Willis is out. He's gonna be gone. That quarterback 2 is going to be open. Would you sign Aaron Rodgers as your number 2?
No, he would never want to. And it's time to. I mean, I know people will point to it was a great career. His last 2 years, some of the stats, like last 2 years, one in New York, one in Pittsburgh, 56 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 7,700 yards passing. So nearly 4,000 yards passing each year. Obviously really low on the interceptions. You're talking 26 or 7 touchdowns on average per season. Good stats, but I assume you watched the Monday night game. I did. He's just too slow back there. And I know the Steelers line is not a good line.
Terrible.
But he needs a line of God to be able to play the way he needs to now. He just can't move, Tay.
No.
It's real evident, and teams shut down things for him because he can't move. So he doesn't have a lot of options. And then he's, making the I'm pissed off Aaron face or yelling
all the time,
because it's frustrating. He's frustrated. His arm is still great. He can still make the throws, but because that other part doesn't work with it, I think it's time. I think he'll ultimately retire as well. And again, what a great career. And, probably the best pure thrower of the football we'll ever see.
I agree. Yeah, I watched that game, and he was exposed as an old man. He really was. You saw it, like it was bad. I mean, the offensive line was terrible, didn't help him out. But yeah, you don't want a grumpy old man yelling at his team every time, blaming them, saying it's their fault. Like, you can't compare to his expectations. Like, you don't want that for your quarterback. So is there any place he could go with a good line that needs a quarterback? There just isn't.
I mean, he could go to Minnesota. The line is decent, But even there, with the wide receiving talent, we got Addison getting arrested again last night, like the second or third time. God, that guy, he just doesn't learn. But I don't even know that it would work there. I mean, sure, Jay Jets is great, but again, time. And I just think he'd be more of a liability than an asset at this point.
Unless the universe is cyclical and that's where he's destined to go. The old quarterbacks go to the Jets and then they go eventually to the Vikings.
I mean, it's possible, but I think ultimately he'll say, you know, what am I doing here at this point? I mean, I'm going to change teams again. I just don't see it.
But what's going to happen is that he will, and I don't know if it's this year, but it's possible. He comes back to Green Bay, signs for a day, and retires as a Packer. I can see that happening if he's truly hanging it up. What I don't want to happen is waiting until the end of March or by the draft time for him to decide that he's going to play. We're going to see some two months of darkness retreat for him, and then we're going to see this news cycle of trying to figure that out. It's like, come on. So he's got to know.
I just don't think there'd be a lot of suitors anymore, man. I mean, I think if he wanted to be honest to say, I'm not sure, but I'm not really like out there looking for a team. And maybe if I decide late summer that I want to play somewhere and somebody has a need, I might consider that. But at this point, I'm leaning towards not playing.
Yeah.
And he can still kind of leave the door open if he's not sure. And if something comes up, you never know. Something comes up. But, for him to at least be honest about it, if he's got just even a slight inkling, that'd be the best way to go about it. But I don't think there's going to be much of a market for him.
Well, one thing's for sure, he's going to come back someday to Green Bay. He's going to get honored. He's going to have his name put up in the ring, and it's going to be great. Maybe probably retire 12, and it's going to be, nostalgic, and it'll be great. And that's what he deserves for our franchise, and that he'll get all the attention he ever wanted forever in Green Bay, as long as the relationship stays the way it is. It's pretty amicable. He's got nothing bad to say about the Packers. He's never badmouthed the fans ever. And whether that's been by design or true feelings, we'll see him back.
He knows where his bread's buttered, Tay. He don't want to end up in a Favre situation with a lot of the fallout. Obviously the Favre stuff, especially with, a lot of comments he made at the time going to Minnesota and just wanting to stick it to the Packers the way he did. Aaron doesn't want to be viewed that way. He wants to have a good relationship with the Packers because he knows ultimately, that's where his career is going to end. Going to be in the Packer Hall of Fame. Probably wants to come back to Wisconsin here and there and be part of the organization. And I think being in New York like he was, certainly, it seems absence made the heart grow fonder, definitely. And he sees that, wow, it was actually probably pretty good there.
This man, Ren, right here, Ed Policy, he wants to put things back the way they were when before the Mark the Meddler Murphy changed them, that whole silo situation for McCarthy. He's, this is kind of reported by our friend Rob Demoski that Ed wants to put things back in order. Head coach reports to the GM reports to him. Do you like that plan? Do you think that's the right move here?
Yeah, let's go back to the way it was. I'm sure he can even stipulate that if I ever felt the need to step in more, I can. But I think this is the way it should be. And until it's a problem, it's not.
Yeah. All right, that was last word. Let's get out of here. We've been a little long tonight, but that's okay. First episode of our long off season, and it's only January. So we don't have any more first takeaways after the game, but if something pops up, something major happens, we'll do a first takeaway on it, give our initial reaction, try to jump on here as quickly as possible to get our raw feelings. Of course, our last one was on Saturday night after the Bears lost. That one was pretty hard to do, but if you missed that, go check that out. But yeah, we're on social media. I try to put out short content, little clips from episodes every week. So check us out on the social platforms, and you can catch us live whenever every Wednesday we do it at 8 p.m. Central Time. So check us out here. So Ren, thanks for joining me tonight and going through all this stuff. Who knows what we have in store for us in the future?
No doubt, Tay. Everybody go smash that subscribe on YouTube. So someday we can make $1 off of them, we'll feel pretty proud of ourselves. But until episode 344, Tay, on the pup list.